Welcome, dear listener. Tonight's gentle story takes you into the world of sleeping myths, the quiet beliefs and timeless rituals that people once trusted to invite rest and bring peaceful dreams. Long ago, when firelight flickered in darkened rooms and silence stretched across the land, families whispered tales of spirits who carried dreams, gods who guarded the night, and secret charms that promised sleep. These were not just stories, they were gentle bridges between waking and dreaming, meant to soothe the mind and calm the heart. In this video, we will wander softly through those ancient beliefs, exploring how people across centuries imagined the mystery of sleep, and how these myths shaped their nights. Some believed that dreams were gifts from the moon. Others thought sleep was a journey guided by unseen guardians, and many held rituals passed down for generations, whispered just before the eyes closed. If you truly enjoy these calming historical sleep stories, please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more soothing journeys through history, crafted to ease your thoughts and carry you gently toward rest. And now, before we begin, let me ask you, have you ever wondered why ancient people believed that sleep was not simply rest, but a doorway into another world? Tonight, in part 1, we will step across that doorway together. We step softly now, dear listener, across the doorway we spoke of in the introduction, into the hush of the ancient night. Imagine a world without lamps, without the glow of electricity, where the only light came from flickering fires and the stars above. In such a world, sleep was never taken for granted. People looked toward the heavens, toward unseen spirits, toward whispered rituals, to explain the mysteries of slumber. And so, the first sleeping myths were born. In the fertile lands of Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates gave life to the earliest cities, people believed that sleep was a gift from the gods. They thought the body lay still, yet the soul wandered far, carried into other realms under the watchful eyes of divine guardians. To them, dreams were not random pictures of the mind, but sacred messages, signs of favor or warning. A dream of flowing water might promise harvest, while a nightmare of darkness could mean famine or loss. And so, before closing their eyes, they whispered prayers, asking the gods to guard their sleep, to turn away evil spirits, and to bless their dreams with good omens. Far to the south, in the golden sands of ancient Egypt, night was ruled by more than darkness. The Egyptians believed sleep opened a doorway between this life and the next. Their god, Be-Es, small yet powerful, was often painted near sleeping chambers, a protector against the terrors of the night. Mothers carved his image on amulets, believing his watchful face would chase away nightmares from their children. Priests taught that dreams were sacred journeys, a way for the soul to walk through hidden halls, guided by gods who whispered secrets of destiny. Some pharaohs even built dream temples where believers would sleep on holy ground, hoping to wake with divine visions that would shape their lives. But why such strong belief? Because the night was a place of fear as much as rest. In the silence, every sound carried weight. The cry of an owl, the howl of a dog, the rustle of wind against the walls. People did not always see these as ordinary noises. They imagined spirits passing by, unseen eyes watching. To sleep, they thought, was to surrender control, to hand oneself over to powers beyond human reach. And so myths became comfort, soft explanations to calm the heart, gentle rituals to welcome sleep when the world felt uncertain. Think for a moment, dear listener, of those ancient families, a father whispering a prayer before lying down, a mother drawing protective signs on the wall near her children, the soft glow of oil lamps fading into darkness. For them, sleep was not just closing the eyes, it was stepping into a sacred journey. But what did they truly believe waited beyond the curtain of dreams? Was it only images of their own minds? Or did they trust they were walking through divine landscapes, guided by gods and guarded by spirits? The myths offered answers, yet they also left questions. Questions that echoed in the quiet of every night. For if dreams were divine, then every sleeper was touched by the gods. And if nightmares were warnings, then no rest was ever free of mystery. And so, part 1 drifts to its end, with the hum of Mesopotamian prayers still in the air, and the shadow of Egyptian temples standing tall in the night. But our journey does not pause here. In the next part, we move deeper, into the heart of Egypt's dream world, where priests, kings, and common people alike trusted that sleep could reveal the very shape of destiny. We continue now, dear listener, standing before the silent temples of ancient Egypt, where night was never only a time for rest. Imagine the stone walls rising tall against the desert sky, their carvings glowing faintly in moonlight. Within these sacred places, men and women would lie down on mats of reeds or fine linen, believing that the gods themselves would step into their dreams. For Egyptians, sleep was a holy act, a bridge between mortal life and divine will. The practice was called dream incubation. Pilgrims came from far and wide, carrying hopes and questions. A farmer might ask for guidance on his harvest. A soldier might beg for protection. A mother might pray for the health of her child. Inside the temple, they would wash themselves in sacred water, light lamps scented with oil, and rest in silence. Priests moved softly among them, chanting prayers, asking the gods to enter the dreams of those who slept. When dawn came, the dream was told to the priests, who carefully read each image like words upon a scroll. A lion could mean strength, a river meant change, a bird might carry warning. Dreams were not private here. They were shared, weighed, and woven into the fabric of daily life. Pharaohs, too, trusted in these rituals. One story tells of Thutmose IV, who fell asleep beneath the shadow of the Great Sphinx. In his dream, the Sphinx spoke, promising him kingship if he would clear away the sands that buried its body. Thutmose obeyed, and in time he became pharaoh, leaving behind the famous dream stele, a monument that still whispers of the power of sleep and prophecy. To the Egyptians, this was proof that slumber could change destiny itself. But not all nights were peaceful. Nightmares were feared as messages of chaos. They believed dark spirits wandered the edges of sleep, trying to twist the dream into terror. To guard against such visits, people wore amulets of Bees or Hathor, hung charms above their beds, and recited protective spells. Some families burned incense at night, letting the smoke drift like a shield around their home. Even a simple lullaby, sung softly to a child, was thought to carry magic strong enough to push away shadows. Is it not curious, dear listener, how the Egyptians gave such weight to sleep? We think of rest as ordinary, yet to them it was sacred theater, where gods spoke in symbols, where the unseen touched the seen. Every pillow, every blanket, every moment of drifting into dreams was heavy with meaning. Perhaps it gave them comfort, a way to trust that even in the silence of night, they were not alone. Or perhaps it gave them fear, knowing that their sleep might carry secrets they could not control. And so we leave the dream temples, still echoing with the footsteps of pilgrims and the whispered chants of priests. But before we rest, another question lingers in the air. Were the Egyptians alone in such beliefs, or did other ancient peoples also see sleep as a path to the divine? The answer lies beyond the desert, across the seas, in the lands of Greece, where poets and philosophers shaped new myths of slumber, weaving stories of gods who ruled the night. There we shall go next. We sail now across the dark seas from Egypt into the storied lands of Greece, where myth and philosophy walked side by side beneath the stars. Here, the very nature of sleep was given form through gods and spirits, each with their own realm, their own gentle powers. To the Greeks, night was not empty. It was alive with beings who shaped the dreams of humankind. At the heart of their belief stood Hypnos, the god of sleep. He was said to dwell in a cave hidden far away, where no rooster crowed and no sunlight reached. The river Lethe flowed nearby, its waters carrying forgetfulness, and within his cave bloomed countless poppies, whose fragrance lulled even the restless into slumber. Hypnos was not feared, for his touch was soft, his presence a balm to weary minds. In the stories, even mighty gods could not resist his power. When Hera wished to distract Zeus, she sought the aid of Hypnos, who, with a gentle whisper, sent the thunderer into deep sleep. Such tales reminded the Greeks that rest was stronger than strength, that sleep could humble even the king of gods. But Hypnos was not alone. His twin brother Thanatos, the spirit of death, often walked beside him. To the Greeks, sleep and death were kin, one a nightly rest, the other an eternal slumber. This closeness gave weight to their beliefs, for when eyes closed at night, who could be certain it was only sleep, not death's shadow? Yet it also gave comfort, for if death resembled sleep, perhaps it was not something to be feared, but a final, gentle rest. The children of Hypnos also carried roles in the theater of dreams. Chief among them were the Oneiroi, the dream spirits, each shaping visions in their own way. Morpheus, with skillful hands, crafted dreams that looked like people, familiar and vivid. Phobetor brought dreams of beasts, wild and strange. Phantassos spun dreams of stone, wood, and the natural world. Together, they colored the nights of mortals, weaving images that felt as real as waking life. To dream in Greece was not merely to imagine. It was to be touched by these spirits, to receive their artistry. Philosophers, too, pondered sleep's mystery. Aristotle wrote that sleep was the body's way of restoring balance, while dreams were reflections of hidden thoughts and desires. Yet even his reasoned words did not banish the myths. For the people, stories of gods and spirits gave life to their nightly experiences. A child waking from a dream could be told, "Morpheus visited you." A soldier shaken by a nightmare might believe Phobetor had passed by. Such beliefs softened fear, turned the unknown into something with form, with a name. But not every dream was trusted. Some were seen as omens, messages from beyond. Oracles and seers were often asked to interpret them, and kings sometimes based decisions upon the visions of a single night. Imagine the weight of such belief, dear listener. One dream might send an army marching, or keep a city at peace. And so, in Greece, sleep became a stage upon which both gods and mortals played. Each night was a performance, each dream a message, each silence a reminder that unseen powers guided the world of slumber. But was this belief unique to Greece? Or did other cultures also see sleep as a path to guidance, a way to touch the divine? As we close this part, picture the quiet cave of Hypnos. Poppies swaying in endless twilight. the river of forgetfulness flowing at its edge. In the distance, the Oneiroi drift, ready to shape another dream. And beyond the horizon, another land awaits, where different myths blossomed beneath different skies. In Part 4, we will travel there, to the north and the misty forests, where ancient peoples whispered their own tales of sleep and shadow. Beyond the horizon, we step into the misty forests and rolling hills of northern lands, where ancient peoples spoke of sleep with reverence and a touch of awe. Here, nights were long and dark, winters harsh, and firelight flickered on wooden walls, offering warmth but little else. In these realms, sleep was both a refuge and a mystery, a time when spirits of the forest, the rivers, and the sky might wander into the dreams of men and women. The Norse, for instance, told of the goddesses known as the Norns, who wove the fates of humans and gods alike. It was believed that sleep was a time when their threads might brush against the mind, offering glimpses of destiny. Dreaming, therefore, was never simple. It could be guidance, a warning, or a glimpse of what lay ahead. People often left small offerings by their beds, or hung charms of carved wood or bone, hoping to appease these unseen weavers and ensure that sleep remained safe and restorative. In the forests themselves, spirits of the night were both feared and respected. The elves and landvatter were thought to wander the shadows, sometimes mischievous, sometimes protective. A wrong word, a poorly placed log, or even neglecting a ritual could invite their attention, resulting in restless nights or dreams that lingered like echoes of the wind through the pines. Parents taught children simple charms and rhymes, songs meant to soothe both the young and the spirits that watched over them. Sleep was not just a human act, it was a conversation between worlds. Even in the longhouses of Viking settlements, nightly routines were guided by both practicality and belief. Fires were banked low, the hearth's glow kept within the family circle, and children were often wrapped in layers of furs. Yet, before the eyes closed, elders might recite tales of heroic deeds and of cautionary spirits, reminding everyone that slumber was sacred and that dreams could carry messages from ancestors. A hero's vision in sleep could foretell victory or loss. A simple dream might inspire a song or a warning. Each night, the unknown was made tangible through these practices, giving order to darkness and hope to the weary. It was not only fear that guided these rituals. There was wonder, too. To believe that sleep could connect one to gods, ancestors, or spirits lent even ordinary nights a shimmer of magic. A child waking with a strange vision might be told it was a message from a kindly ancestor, a dream meant to teach or inspire. Adults, too, could see guidance in their dreams, offering insight into choices that might otherwise seem impossible. Sleep became a sacred teacher, a nightly advisor that neither books nor words could fully replace. So, in these northern lands, sleep was never trivial. It was layered with meaning, guarded by rituals, stories, and beliefs that shaped the night. The long shadows of the forest, the whisper of the wind, the flicker of firelight, all became part of the tapestry that allowed humans to rest safely and with purpose. And yet, questions remained, just as they had in Egypt and Greece. What truly guided the dream? Was it gods, spirits, ancestors, or merely the mind itself weaving images from memory? As we leave the northern forests, let your mind linger on the longhouses, the woven charms, and the soft chant of rhymes at bedtime. In Part 5, we will journey to distant lands across the seas, where early Native Americans crafted their own sleeping rituals and myths, adding yet another thread to this vast, universal story of slumber. Over vast oceans and rolling waves, arriving in the rich lands of early Native American tribes, where nights were filled with both silence and the hum of life. Here, sleep was a sacred act, intertwined with the rhythms of nature, the cycle of the moon, and the wisdom of ancestors. The people believed that the world was alive, and that in the stillness of night, unseen forces could touch the mind and guide the soul through dreams. Among many tribes, dreams were messages, teachers, and sometimes warnings. The Iroquois spoke of dream spirits who carried visions to the sleepers, showing paths that might be taken or dangers that lay ahead. The Sioux believed in the power of vision quests, often guided by extended periods of wakefulness and reflection, where sleep and dreams could reveal personal purpose, guidance, or spiritual insight. For children and adults alike, bedtime was not merely for rest. It was a time to honor the unseen world, to seek understanding, and to prepare the mind for wisdom that could arrive in dreams. Families and communities practiced rituals to invite good sleep and pleasant dreams. They hung charms near sleeping areas, feathers, carved symbols, and small pouches of herbs. Firelight flickered softly, casting shadows that were neither frightening nor idle, but alive with protective meaning. Elders would sing lullabies that were more than songs. They were prayers, guides, and sometimes stories of dreams that had already come true. Each night, as the tribe settled, these rituals wrapped the sleepers in safety, hope, and connection to generations long past. Dream catchers, now widely known, began as a way to filter dreams, allowing the good to flow gently into the sleeper's mind while trapping nightmares in the web to disappear with the morning sun. Though simple in appearance, these objects carried deep belief, a bridge between human life and the spiritual. For the Native Americans, the boundaries between the waking world and the dream world were fluid, permeable, and sacred. One's actions, one's thoughts, and one's prayers during the day shaped the quality of sleep at night. Yet sleep was not always predictable. Storms, hunting pressures, illness, and spiritual unrest could affect the dreams. The people understood this and offered guidance through stories, rituals, and communal support. A restless child might be soothed with a tale of a friendly spirit. A young hunter might be encouraged to meditate on past dreams before sleep, while elders watched carefully, noting visions that might guide future actions. Sleep was a living dialogue with the unseen, a nightly lesson woven through imagination, ritual, and attentive care. So, as we leave the fire-lit lodges, imagine the quiet of the night, the soft rustle of leaves, and the gentle hum of lullabies and prayers drifting into the darkness. Here, in these distant lands, sleep was more than rest. It was connection, guidance, and the unfolding of inner wisdom. And yet, across the world, other peoples held their own beliefs, their own rituals, each shaping the universal story of human slumber. In Part 6, we will travel to medieval Europe, where sleep became both mysterious and regulated, woven with myths, superstition, and the quiet patterns of daily life. We step now into the shadowed streets and timbered houses of medieval Europe, where night was long, light was scarce, and sleep carried both relief and unease. Unlike the carefully structured dream practices of the Egyptians or the Native Americans, here, sleep was shaped as much by superstition as by habit. The people of this time believed that the night was alive with spirits, both protective and dangerous, and that how one slept could influence fortune, health, and even the soul's fate. In castles and cottages alike, bedtime was approached with caution. The wealthy might have curtains drawn tightly around beds to shield themselves from wandering spirits, while the poor might hang charms or carry small tokens of protection close to their bodies. It was believed that leaving a door open at night could invite ill fortune, that shadows cast by flickering candlelight could carry mischief, and that certain nights, especially those marked by eclipses, the new moon, or other celestial events, were more prone to restless or prophetic dreams. Every act before sleep, from washing hands and feet to saying a short prayer, was performed not only for comfort, but as protection against unseen forces. Dreams themselves were treated as serious matters. People consulted dream books, which contained interpretations linking symbols to possible outcomes. A crow in a dream might signal death, while a river might promise travel or prosperity. Even children were taught to share their dreams with parents, who might give guidance or protection through words or simple rituals. Monks in abbeys also kept careful records of dreams, believing that divine messages could appear to those in deep contemplation or prayer. Sleep, therefore, was both practical and spiritual, a bridge between the mortal world and the divine, and a moment where guidance and warning could intersect. But superstition was not the only concern. Illnesses were often linked to sleep patterns. A restless night could be seen as a sign of disease, or, conversely, the lack of sleep might weaken the body and invite sickness. People carried herbs like lavender, chamomile, or sage to soothe the mind and protect the body. Some placed iron or other protective metals near beds to ward off malevolent spirits. The night was a time of ritualized care, of preparation and mindfulness, where sleep itself was a precious, fragile thing that required attention and respect. Even in the heart of towns and villages, communal beliefs influenced slumber. Fires were banked in central hearths, children were tucked close to parents, and lullabies carried more than melody. They were spells, intended to charm away nightmares or invite pleasant visions. Folk tales told of nocturnal creatures, fairies, or witches who roamed when the household slept, and many practices, simple gestures like sprinkling salt or marking a cross, were believed to protect against mischief. Sleep was thus a nightly negotiation, balancing comfort, faith, and caution. Yet amidst the fear and superstition, there was wonder. The night provided moments of introspection, of dreams that sparked creativity, reflection, or insight. Even peasants, wrapped in simple blankets, understood that sleep was not merely the absence of wakefulness. It was a time when the world could speak through visions, when guidance might be received, and when the human mind could wander into unseen realms. And so, medieval Europe, with all its shadows and superstition, contributed richly to the story of human slumber, weaving practices, myths, and beliefs into the daily life of every household. As we leave the candle-lit rooms and quiet streets behind, imagine the long nights stretching across villages and towns, the gentle rhythm of breathing, the soft hush of the world sleeping. And yet, even as Europe slept under its superstition and ritual, across the seas and forests, other cultures held their own beliefs, each adding threads to the tapestry of sleep. In Part 7, we will journey into the early modern period, exploring how growing cities, scientific thought, and continuing traditions shaped how humans slept, dreamed, and sought guidance in the quiet hours of night. We step forward now, dear listener, into the early modern period, where towns grew crowded, candles glimmered in narrow streets, and the patterns of daily life began to shift under new ideas and discoveries. Sleep has always remained vital, yet the beliefs surrounding it were evolving. While superstition still lingered, early scientific thought began to mingle with the tradition, and people sought to understand the mysteries of slumber not only through ritual, but through observation, reflection, and careful practice. In cities across Europe, households faced new challenges. Narrow streets and close neighbors brought both warmth and disturbance, making quiet rest more precious than ever. People took care to darken windows, keep fires low, and ensure that beds were positioned away from drafts. Herbs and simple remedies remained common. Lavender, rosemary, and hops were placed near pillows to calm the mind and encourage restful sleep. But alongside these practical measures, old beliefs persisted. Dreams might still carry omens, night spirits could wander, and certain nights held a power greater than others, especially those tied to celestial events. The study of sleep began to attract attention among thinkers and physicians. They noted patterns of rest and wakefulness, the effects of diet, and the influence of light and temperature on slumber. Yet, even as science suggested explanations, myths remained alive. People continued to share stories of dream visitations, prophetic visions, and nocturnal guardians who could protect or warn. A merchant might consult a dream book before deciding on trade, while a young woman might heed the symbolic meaning of a vision to guide her daily life. Sleep, therefore, became a blend of observation, tradition, and imagination. In homes and communities, rituals endured. Children were tucked under blankets, lullabies were sung, and prayers were whispered. Nighttime objects, charm bags, amulets, or small carved figures were placed near beds to guard against ill fortune. Even as cities grew and life became busier, these practices persisted, demonstrating that human desire for guidance and protection during sleep was universal. In some regions, dream interpretation became a form of entertainment, while in others it remained a serious spiritual or practical tool. Sleep was simultaneously ordinary and extraordinary, a daily necessity infused with wonder. Yet, the early modern period also introduced a growing curiosity about the mind itself. Philosophers and scientists speculated on why dreams occurred, what caused nightmares, and how sleep could affect both body and soul. Some believed that the mind continued to work during rest, sorting memories and shaping thoughts, while others maintained that unseen forces influenced what humans experienced at night. The tension between reason and myth created a unique landscape, where practical routines, spiritual belief, and imaginative wonder coexisted within the quiet hours of sleep. As the candlelight dims in our imagination, picture the early modern streets, the small households, the gentle rustle of curtains, and the subtle scent of herbs drifting in the night air. Sleep remains a portal, simultaneously ordinary and mysterious, practical and magical. And beyond the cities, across continents and cultures, other traditions persisted, each weaving its own narrative of rest, ritual, and dreams. In Part 8, dear listener, we will venture into the homes of the New World, exploring colonial America, where European beliefs mingled with native traditions to create new sleeping rituals, shaping the nightly rest of generations yet to come. We arrive now, dear listener, on the shores of colonial America, where the early settlements carried the echoes of Europe, yet mingled them with the wisdom and beliefs of native peoples. Here, sleep was influenced by a blend of Old World superstition and New World understanding, creating nightly rituals both practical and symbolic. The long, dark nights of the colonies demanded preparation, for warmth was scarce. Candles were precious, and every sound of the wind through wooden structures could awaken unease. In many homes, beds were arranged carefully, often with simple curtains or hangings to protect against drafts and wandering spirits. Families placed herbs such as sage, lavender, and rosemary near sleeping areas, a practice inherited from Europe and enriched by local knowledge. Feathers and small charms were tucked under pillows or attached to bedposts, meant to invite pleasant dreams and ward off nightmares. Children were lulled with stories and gentle songs, while elders offered advice on how to rest peacefully, blending practical comfort with spiritual reassurance. Sleep, though necessary, was never taken lightly. Colonial Americans also inherited the belief that dreams could hold messages. Farmers might dream of harvests, merchants of trade, and mothers of children's well-being. Dream interpretation, though informal, played a role in daily decisions. Night visions could inspire action, caution against danger, or reinforce communal beliefs. Native traditions added another layer of understanding, emphasizing harmony with nature, respect for spirits of the land, and the importance of rituals tied to the cycles of moon and season. Sleep became a dialogue, bridging multiple cultural perspectives, where every night offered opportunity for reflection, guidance, or insight. Stories and folk tales continued to shape nightly practices, tales of spirits who roamed at night, both protective and mischievous, were shared around fires or whispered in bed. Families might sprinkle salt or leave small offerings to keep these entities benevolent, a practice that reflected both European and native influences. The sense that sleep was a liminal state, a moment between the seen and unseen worlds, remained strong, and people treated rest with care, ritual, and respect. Even small routines, like washing before bed or reciting a prayer, were imbued with significance, reminding everyone that sleep was more than physical rest. It was a spiritual journey. And yet, in colonial towns and villages, life was changing. New ideas, practical concerns, and the harsh realities of survival shaped sleep as much as ritual did. Early Americans were learning to balance tradition and necessity, superstition and observation, comfort and caution. Each household carried its own blend of beliefs, creating nightly practices that were deeply personal yet connected to broader cultural patterns. Sleep remained a vital, sacred, and mysterious time, where dreams could guide, warn, or inspire. As the fire dies down and the quiet of colonial homes spreads across the night, picture children nestled under blankets, elders watching carefully, and the soft whisper of prayers and songs drifting into darkness. And beyond these settlements, across lands and oceans, other cultures and eras await, each adding their own threads to the tapestry of human sleep. In Part 9, dear listener, we will explore the era of the Enlightenment, where reason, science, and continuing tradition combined to shape new beliefs about sleep, dreams, and the nightly rituals of rest. We step now into the era of the Enlightenment, a time when reason and curiosity illuminated the world. Yet the mysteries of sleep still held sway over human imagination. Cities were growing, books multiplying, and thinkers began to study the human mind with new intensity. Sleep, though universal, was now examined both scientifically and philosophically, while older beliefs and rituals persisted in homes across Europe and the colonies. It was a period of balance between the rational and the mysterious, observation and tradition, knowledge and imagination. In homes, daily life became more regimented. People recognized that healthy sleep was essential for work, learning, and well-being. Candles burned at predictable hours. Bedrooms were arranged with care, and common practices, like maintaining warmth, reducing drafts, and ensuring proper bedding, were observed with greater diligence. Yet, alongside these practical measures, old rituals continued. Families hung protective charms, recited prayers, and shared stories to calm children, merging superstition with emerging understanding of health and hygiene. Sleep became both a science and an art. Dreams, too, were a point of fascination. Scholars wrote treatises attempting to classify them, to explain their causes, and to predict their meanings. Yet the people themselves continued to interpret visions according to centuries-old traditions. A dream might be seen as divine communication, a warning or guidance for personal decisions. Folk wisdom persisted. Certain herbs were believed to induce calm sleep. Lullabies carried protective intent, and specific postures or positions in bed were thought to prevent nightmares. Even as reason spread, the imagination and cultural memory of past generations remained vivid in the quiet of night. The Enlightenment also brought new attention to the physiology of sleep. Physicians began to observe the effects of diet, environment, and mental activity on rest. They noted that irregular schedules, poor nutrition, or overwork could disturb sleep, while moderation and careful planning encouraged peaceful nights. Yet, even with these insights, mystery lingered. The mind's movements during sleep, the fleeting images, the sudden awakenings, the vivid or troubling dreams, were not fully understood. People still saw in them messages, omens, or whispers of the divine. Sleep was increasingly respected as both a biological necessity and a window into human perception. Communities maintained both ritual and practical measures to safeguard rest. Candles were carefully extinguished, prayers were whispered, and protective charms remained near bedsides. Children's dreams were attended to, elders gave counsel, and families shared tales that reflected both observation and imagination. In some households, the concept of the second sleep persisted, a period of waking between two nights of slumber, often accompanied by prayer or reflection. This practice, blending habit and spiritual purpose, revealed how flexible and nuanced nightly routines had become. Yet, despite the growth of knowledge, fear and curiosity coexisted. People still wondered about the unseen. Were spirits, ancestors, or divine beings influencing dreams? Could one sleep too long or too little? Might nightmares be warnings of danger or illness? Sleep retained its sacred quality, a moment when mortal life intersected with mysteries beyond human reach. Enlightenment thinkers encouraged rational inquiry, but the imagination and inherited belief systems remained integral to nightly rest. As we leave the candle-lit rooms and early modern streets behind, picture the quiet hush of homes across Europe and the New World. The soft scent of herbs, the gentle rustle of curtains, and the calm breath of sleepers. The Enlightenment brought reason and observation, yet the age-old fascination with dreams, visions, and nightly rituals persisted. In Part 10, dear listener, we will explore the 19th century, where industrialization, urban life, and new scientific discoveries began to reshape sleep, while myths and traditions continued to influence how humans rested, dreamed, and sought guidance in the night. The bustling cities and expanding towns of the 19th century, a world transformed by industrialization, railways, gas lights, and clocks. The rhythms of human life were changing. Work schedules dictated sleep times, yet old beliefs and nightly rituals remained, creating a delicate balance between modern necessity and inherited tradition. Nights were longer in the sense of quiet hours, yet people often struggled to find uninterrupted rest amid the noises and demands of urban life. In urban homes, sleep was carefully managed. Families took measures to ensure warmth, reduce drafts, and create a space conducive to rest. Heavy curtains, thick bedding, and even early forms of mattresses were employed to provide comfort. Yet, alongside these practical steps, cultural and mystical beliefs persisted. People hung charms, placed protective symbols near beds, and encouraged children to recite prayers or stories before sleep. Dreams were still taken seriously, viewed as reflections of daily life, omens, or messages from ancestors and unseen forces. Even in an age of steam engines and factories, the human desire to understand and guide sleep remained strong. The 19th century also witnessed a growing fascination with the mind. Psychologists and physicians began to study sleep and dreams more systematically. Observers recorded patterns, noting the effects of fatigue, nutrition, and emotional states. Theories emerged about stages of sleep, and the links between dreams, memory, and imagination became a topic of serious inquiry. Yet, despite scientific progress, myths endured. Tales of nocturnal spirits, haunted dreams, and protective rituals remained part of household life. Sleep retained its aura of mystery, bridging the gap between the rational and the magical. In rural areas, traditions continued alongside the rhythms of work and nature. Farmers, shepherds, and artisans relied on sleep both to restore the body and to receive guidance through dreams. Rituals included placing herbs under pillows, marking doors or beds with protective symbols, and singing songs to encourage pleasant visions. Nighttime stories, shared in the glow of lanterns, passed down lessons, warnings, and advice. Even in towns and cities, these customs persisted, reflecting the human need to feel secure, guided, and connected during the vulnerable hours of rest. Children's sleep, in particular, was treated with care. Lullabies were not merely songs, they were spells of comfort, protection, and guidance. Parents and elders often interpreted children's dreams as reflections of health, morality, or spiritual messages. Nightmares were addressed with small charms, rituals, or gentle stories, revealing an intricate interplay between care, imagination, and belief. Sleep was a dialogue, a continuous exchange between the conscious and subconscious, the visible and invisible worlds. Despite the progress of science, fear and wonder continued to coexist. Questions remained. Could dreams predict the future? Were restless nights a sign of illness, misfortune, or spiritual unrest? Might protective charms or rituals influence sleep? People continued to act as if the night held both promise and peril, blending observation with imagination, modern knowledge with age-old practices. The 19th century, with its industrial hum and scientific curiosity, remained deeply entwined with the mysteries of slumber. As we leave the gaslit streets and candlelit bedrooms behind, imagine families settling for the night. Lanterns dimmed, windows curtained, and fires dying down. Sleep persists as both necessity and ritual, shaped by changing times, yet firmly rooted in tradition. In Part 11, dear listener, we will move into the early 20th century, a time of electric light, new inventions, and continued fascination with dreams, where humanity's understanding of sleep deepened, while ancient practices quietly persisted. the early 20th century, a world transformed by electric lights, telegraphs, trains, and the hum of industry. Cities had grown taller, homes brighter, and people's schedules dictated by clocks, factories, and social change. Yet, despite these innovations, the age-old fascination with sleep, dreams, and nightly rituals persisted. Humanity was discovering new ways to study the mind, the body, and rest. But even as science progressed, the quiet traditions of protection, guidance, and wonder remained deeply woven into nightly life. Electric light changed the rhythm of human sleep. Streets glowed at night. Households were illuminated long after sunset, and the natural cues of day and night became altered. People experimented with bedtime routines, noting how light, sound, and activity influenced rest. Bedrooms were arranged with care, ventilation was considered, and new mattresses and bedding made sleep more comfortable. Yet, alongside these practical measures, families still hung charms, recited prayers, and told stories to ensure peaceful nights. Sleep was both modern and ancient, a practice rooted in biology and memory, imagination and caution. Dreams became a subject of intense curiosity. Sigmund Freud's revolutionary ideas spread across Europe and America, suggesting that dreams revealed hidden thoughts, desires, and fears. People began to record their dreams, attempting to understand themselves through nightly visions. Yet many still looked to older traditions for guidance. Dreams were interpreted as warnings, blessings, or messages from unseen worlds. Children were gently asked about their nighttime visions, and parents used stories, rituals, or small charms to ensure comfort and safety. Even in the face of psychoanalytic theory, the human need to shape sleep with ritual and care remained unchanged. In both urban apartments and rural homes, the early 20th century saw a blend of old and new. Folk remedies, protective symbols, and lullabies continued alongside the practical knowledge of physicians and scientists. Families paid attention to diet, temperature, and activity levels, recognizing the impact on sleep quality. Yet they also preserved imagination, awe, and tradition. Nightmares were soothed, dreams nurtured, and bedtime became a carefully managed transition between wakefulness and rest, balancing practicality with the intangible mysteries that had accompanied humans for centuries. Social changes influenced sleep as well. Factory schedules, school routines, and transportation meant that strict bedtime rules emerged. Families had to adapt, and sleep became a shared discipline as much as a personal journey. Yet the core human desire, to feel secure, to receive guidance in dreams, to protect oneself and loved ones during the night, persisted. Rituals might evolve, but their essence remained. Sleep was sacred, mysterious, and deeply intertwined with both practical needs and the unseen world. As we imagine the glow of early electric lights fading across quiet streets and homes, picture families settling under warm blankets, children lulled by stories, and dreams beginning to stir. The early 20th century marks a period of discovery, yet the whispers of tradition continue to echo through bedrooms, echoing the wisdom and imagination of centuries past. In Part 12, dear listener, we will explore mid-20th century sleep, where industrial progress, psychology, and cultural change further shaped the rituals, beliefs, and experiences of nightly rest. The mid-20th century, a time of rapid industrial progress, new technologies, and shifting cultural landscapes. Cities buzzed with electricity. Radio programs filled homes with voices, and televisions began to illuminate living rooms. Life moved faster than ever before. Yet humans still sought the timeless sanctuary of sleep. In this era, understanding of the mind and body deepened, while old rituals and beliefs continued to influence how people prepared for rest, interpreted dreams, and nurtured nightly routines. With industrialization and urban growth, sleep became more structured. Work schedules dictated bedtime, while artificial lighting extended waking hours. People began to understand the importance of regular sleep cycles. Yet the cultural memory of protective practices endured. Families still hung charms, whispered prayers, and told stories to soothe children. Herbs, once common in European and colonial households, continued to be used, though often alongside new products like scented sachets or early relaxation remedies. Sleep was at once a practical necessity and a space for imagination, reflection, and ritual. Psychology and science increasingly influenced daily life. Sigmund Freud's ideas had matured and spread, inspiring new ways to understand dreams and their meanings. Psychologists and physicians emphasized the benefits of consistent routines, mental relaxation, and proper posture. Yet, despite this growing rational understanding, dreams retained their mystical allure. People interpreted visions as messages from the subconscious, guidance for daily decisions, or echoes of past experiences. Parents continued to observe children's dreams, offering comfort, reassurance, or gentle storytelling to nurture calm rest. Sleep was simultaneously scientific and sacred. Cultural change reshaped habits and beliefs. The rise of media, including radio shows and print magazines, spread ideas about relaxation, bedtime routines, and the importance of restful sleep. Popular guides advised parents on how to create a soothing environment, while folk practices persisted alongside modern insights. Families combined rituals inherited from ancestors with contemporary methods, producing a hybrid of care, observation, and imagination. Bedtime became both practical and ceremonial, a bridge between centuries-old wisdom and mid-century innovation. In rural areas, traditions continued in parallel with modernization. Farmers, artisans, and small-town families maintained rituals that connected sleep to nature, the cycles of the day, and the unseen world. Herbs, charms, lullabies, and storytelling remained integral, blending with advice from physicians or social guides. People observed that sleep quality influenced health, mood, and productivity, yet also recognized its spiritual and imaginative dimensions. Nighttime remained a liminal space, a moment when practical needs, cultural beliefs, and the mysteries of dreams converged. Across households, sleep in the mid-20th century was both guided and observed, cherished and studied. Families protected the quiet hours with care, blending habit, superstition, and scientific insight. Children were soothed, adults reflected, and dreams were acknowledged as both fascinating and meaningful. Even as industrial progress reshaped daily life, the essence of human rest, sacred, mysterious, and vital, remained intact. As the glow of lamps and early electric lights fades into quiet streets, imagine families winding down, curtains drawn, and homes settled into stillness. The mid-20th century reminds us that sleep, though studied and structured, is ultimately shaped by imagination, belief, and care. In Part 13, dear listener, we will venture into the late 20th century, where global culture, technological advances, and changing lifestyles transformed sleep practices, yet left room for dreams, rituals, and the echoes of traditions long past. We step now, dear listener, into the late 20th century, a time of rapid globalization, technological innovation, and profound social change. Cities hummed with electricity, televisions illuminated living rooms, and computers began to enter households. Yet, even amid this accelerating pace of life, humans continued to seek the familiar comfort and mystery of sleep. While scientific understanding deepened and routines became more structured, the cultural memory of protective rituals, dream interpretation, and imaginative guidance persisted, shaping nightly practices across diverse communities. In urban centers, artificial light extended the waking day, and the demands of work, school, and social life required increasingly regulated sleep schedules. Families began to adapt, using knowledge from psychology, medicine, and social guidance alongside older folk practices. Bedrooms were arranged carefully to maximize comfort and calm. Thick curtains, mattresses, and pillows provided physical support, while scents like lavender or chamomile, stories, and lullabies offered mental and emotional soothing. Sleep became a carefully curated experience, blending science, habit, and cultural memory. Dreams remained a central part of human fascination. Popular psychology offered new frameworks for understanding visions, symbols, and recurring patterns. Yet, traditional interpretations persisted. People continued to consult dream guides, share visions with family members, and practice rituals to invite peaceful rest. Children's dreams were observed and discussed, and adults reflected on their own nightly visions, seeking insight, guidance, or reassurance. Even in an age of modern medicine, the mystical, symbolic, and imaginative dimensions of sleep retained their significance. Global culture also influenced sleep. Travel, media, and the spread of ideas introduced new perspectives on bedtime routines, rest, and dream work. Practices that had once been local or regional spread widely. The use of protective charms, relaxation exercises, guided meditation, and the careful arrangement of sleeping spaces became common across different societies. At the same time, traditional rituals persisted in homes and communities, highlighting the enduring human need for guidance, security, and imaginative engagement during rest. Scientific studies further illuminated the physiology of sleep. Researchers explored stages of sleep, circadian rhythms, and the influence of diet, exercise, and stress. These findings informed new routines and practical measures to improve rest. Yet they coexisted with centuries-old practices. Families continued to tell bedtime stories, observe dreams, and employ charms or rituals, blending the wisdom of the past with contemporary knowledge. Sleep, therefore, became a space of balance, regulated by science, enriched by culture, and sustained by imagination. Even amid technological advancement, the essence of sleep remained deeply human. Families protected the quiet hours, children were soothed, and nightly rituals offered continuity and comfort. Dreams, whether interpreted scientifically or symbolically, continued to inspire curiosity and reflection. Sleep was both a necessity and a sacred moment, a place where imagination, memory, and cultural practice converged. As the late 20th century settled into quiet nights across homes and cities, imagine families preparing for rest. Curtains drawn against glowing streetlights, and children lulled by stories, music, or gentle whispers. This era demonstrates that even as life became faster and more connected, sleep remained a deeply personal and culturally meaningful practice. In Part 14, dear listener, we will enter the 21st century, where technology, modern science, and global culture continue to transform how we rest, dream, and practice nightly rituals. The 21st century, a world defined by rapid technological advancement, global connectivity, and unprecedented access to information. Cities glow with neon lights, smartphones illuminate bedrooms, and sleep is both observed and influenced by a constant stream of data, alerts, and entertainment. Yet, even amid this modern intensity, humans still seek the timeless sanctuary of rest. Sleep remains a vital, sacred, and mysterious practice, blending science, technology, imagination, and ritual in ways both familiar and new. Technology has reshaped the rhythms of daily life and sleep. Screens, artificial lighting, and the internet extend waking hours far beyond natural cycles. Many people track sleep patterns using wearable devices, apps, and smart home systems, seeking both optimization and insight. Yet, even in the age of metrics and analysis, traditional methods for fostering rest continue. Aromatherapy, herbal remedies, and bedtime stories remain popular, as do mindfulness practices, meditation, and guided relaxation routines. Sleep has become a hybrid experience, informed by modern science but enriched by centuries-old cultural and imaginative practices. Dreams continue to captivate. People use apps to record dreams, analyze patterns, and even explore lucid dreaming. Popular psychology and neuroscience provide frameworks for understanding the mechanisms behind visions. Yet the symbolic, emotional, and cultural dimensions of dreams endure. Families still share stories, observe children's nighttime experiences, and employ rituals intended to comfort and protect. In a world dominated by data, human imagination and belief remain essential to how sleep is experienced and valued. Global culture influences modern sleep practices. Practices once limited to specific regions, like protective charms, bedtime rituals, or herbal remedies, are now accessible worldwide. Meditation techniques from Asia, relaxation strategies from Europe, and traditional lullabies from diverse cultures merge seamlessly with modern advice on sleep hygiene. Families and individuals blend old and new, crafting nightly routines that honor history, nurture imagination, and respond to the demands of contemporary life. Sleep becomes both deeply personal and culturally informed, a space where innovation meets tradition. Scientific understanding has advanced tremendously. Researchers examine circadian rhythms, stages of sleep, the effects of light and technology, and the influence of stress on rest. Evidence-based guidelines inform bedtime practices, from limiting screen exposure to creating optimal environments for deep sleep. Yet, alongside these scientific insights, ritual, imagination, and cultural memory continue to shape the experience of rest. Sleep is simultaneously biological, psychological, and deeply human. Even in our modern, connected world, the essence of sleep remains unchanged. It is a space for restoration, reflection, imagination, and guidance. Families protect quiet hours, nurture children's dreams, and create environments that promote peace and security. Nighttime remains a liminal space, where the conscious mind meets the subconscious, where cultural memory interacts with modern knowledge, and where imagination continues to thrive. as the glow of modern cities fades into quiet night. Imagine individuals around the world preparing for rest. Lights dimmed, devices set aside, and minds gently transitioning into sleep. The 21st century demonstrates that despite technological advances and cultural shifts, sleep remains an enduring, sacred, and deeply human practice, enriched by centuries of ritual, belief, and imagination. In Part 15, dear listener, we will explore the fusion of ancient and modern sleep practices, highlighting how historical beliefs, modern science, and contemporary rituals coexist in today's nightly routines. We step now, dear listener, into the intricate world where ancient wisdom meets modern understanding, creating a fusion of sleep practices that span centuries. Across the globe, families, individuals, and communities blend the insights of science with the cultural memory of old rituals, seeking restful nights that honor both mind and imagination. In this era, sleep is more than a biological necessity. It is a carefully cultivated experience, shaped by history, innovation, and creativity. Even as people monitor circadian rhythms, track sleep cycles with devices, and follow evidence-based guidelines, ancient practices endure. Herbal remedies, once common in Europe and the New World, continue to be used for relaxation and calming the mind. Lavender, chamomile, and other fragrant plants are placed near pillows or infused in teas, offering both comfort and a nod to centuries of cultural knowledge. These simple rituals connect the modern sleeper to a long lineage of human care, imagination, and belief. Stories, too, retain their place. Bedtime narratives, lullabies, and shared dreams act as bridges between generations, providing both security and creativity. Families discuss children's visions, reflect on their own, and pass down lessons embedded in tales of dreams, protection, and nightly guidance. Even in technologically advanced homes, imagination remains central. Storytelling transforms sleep from a purely physiological act into an experience rich with symbolic meaning and emotional resonance. Global culture facilitates the integration of diverse practices. Techniques from Asia, Europe, and the Americas intermingle seamlessly. Meditation, mindfulness exercises, guided visualizations, and relaxation techniques coexist with the charms, symbols, and prayers of ancestral traditions. People select elements that resonate with their lifestyle, health needs, and cultural values, creating personalized routines that honor both the wisdom of the past and the knowledge of the present. Sleep becomes an intentional, holistic practice. Scientific understanding continues to advance. Research into REM cycles, the effects of stress, nutrition, and light exposure informs how modern humans optimize rest. Yet these insights are enriched, not replaced, by ritual. Practices like placing protective symbols, reciting bedtime stories, or using scented herbs continue because they satisfy emotional, psychological, and cultural needs. Sleep is simultaneously guided by reason and imagination, by observable patterns and inherited belief systems. Across households, whether in bustling cities or quiet rural areas, the fusion of ancient and modern sleep practices reflects a human desire for security, insight, and comfort. Families protect quiet hours, prepare environments conducive to rest, and observe the nightly journey of dreams. Children's imaginations are nurtured. Adults' minds are calmed, and communities continue traditions that honor the unseen, the sacred, and the restorative power of sleep. Even in a world of rapid technological change, the core essence of sleep remains constant. It is a sacred, restorative, and imaginative space. Ancient wisdom and modern knowledge coexist, offering guidance, protection, and insight. The nightly ritual, whether involving herbs, stories, meditation, or technology, represents a continuity of human care, curiosity, and reverence for rest. As night spreads its quiet across homes worldwide, picture the gentle rustle of sheets, the soft glow of lamps or screens dimmed, and the calm of minds transitioning into sleep. The fusion of ancient and modern practices ensures that, even in a rapidly changing world, humans continue to honor centuries of ritual, wisdom, and imagination. In Part 16, dear listener, we will explore the future of sleep, how emerging technology, scientific breakthroughs, and evolving cultural practices may shape nightly rest and dreams in the generations to come. The unfolding future of sleep, a realm where science, technology, and culture converge to create new possibilities for nightly rest. Advanced research into the human brain, circadian rhythms, and dream activity promises to transform our understanding of slumber. At the same time, centuries-old beliefs, rituals, and imaginative practices continue to shape the experience of sleep, creating a rich interplay between innovation and tradition. In this era, sleep is both a laboratory of knowledge and a sanctuary of imagination. Emerging technologies are poised to change the way humans rest. Wearable devices, smart mattresses, and AI-guided sleep programs monitor patterns, suggest routines, and even adjust environmental factors like temperature, light, and sound. Virtual reality and immersive experiences may one day offer guided dream exploration, relaxation exercises, or therapeutic interventions for insomnia and stress. Yet, despite these innovations, humans are unlikely to abandon practices rooted in centuries of ritual. Herbs, bedtime stories, lullabies, and protective charms retain psychological and cultural significance, bridging the gap between science and imagination. Scientific breakthroughs deepen our understanding of dreams and their purpose. Researchers study the neural patterns of REM sleep, memory consolidation, and the emotional processing that occurs while we rest. These discoveries offer new insight into the mind's hidden workings. Yet dreams continue to inspire curiosity, creativity, and personal reflection. People will still seek meaning, reassurance, or guidance in their visions, blending scientific knowledge with centuries-old symbolic interpretation. Sleep remains a liminal space, simultaneously biological and imaginative, observable and mysterious. Cultural evolution continues to shape nightly routines. Globalization allows ideas, rituals, and practices to travel instantaneously, giving people access to a diverse array of techniques for rest. Meditation practices from Asia, relaxation methods from Europe, and storytelling traditions from the Americas coexist alongside digital interventions and scientific recommendations. Families and individuals create personalized sleep experiences that honor heritage while embracing contemporary knowledge. The future of sleep is both diverse and deeply human, combining logic, culture, and imagination. Psychological, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of sleep are likely to retain their significance. Even with optimized environments and monitored cycles, humans crave comfort, ritual, and the sense of security provided by familiar practices. Children will continue to be soothed by stories, songs, and gentle guidance. Adults will maintain reflective or meditative rituals, seeking connection, relaxation, and insight through dreams. Sleep, despite technological intervention, remains a human experience that transcends data and measurement. As the 21st century progresses, imagine households across the globe. Quiet bedrooms, soft lighting, gentle music or natural sounds, devices monitoring sleep, and children's imaginations nurtured by stories and dreams. Ancient wisdom and modern science blend seamlessly, guiding nightly rest while honoring centuries of ritual and cultural memory. In Part 17, dear listener, we will examine the intimate role of dreams themselves, the messages, the interpretations, and the subtle influence they hold over human life, past, present, and future. The mysterious and intimate world of dreams, where human consciousness drifts into realms both familiar and fantastical. Dreams have fascinated people for millennia, offering glimpses of the subconscious, reflections of daily life, and sometimes messages from realms beyond understanding. Across centuries, cultures have interpreted visions in countless ways, blending superstition, spirituality, and observation to make sense of these nightly journeys. Even in modern times, with scientific frameworks explaining neural activity, dreams retain a symbolic and emotional weight that resonates deeply with human experience. In every household, dreams have played a guiding role. Parents observe their children, noting recurring themes or unusual behaviors, while sharing stories and offering gentle interpretation. Adults reflect on dreams as windows into desires, fears, or unresolved conflicts. Across history, from ancient civilizations to modern families, dreams have informed decisions, inspired creativity, and even warned of danger. The intimate connection between sleep, imagination, and insight persists, making dreams both a private experience and a shared cultural phenomenon. Scientific understanding of dreams has advanced, yet it complements rather than replaces centuries of cultural practice. Psychologists study patterns, stages, and the functions of REM sleep, revealing how dreams aid memory, emotional regulation, and problem-solving. Despite this, humans continue to find meaning and guidance in visions, drawing on folklore, personal intuition, and symbolic traditions. Dreams are interpreted as omens, reflections, or creative sparks, demonstrating that even in a highly rational world, imagination remains essential. Cultural variation enriches the experience of dreams. In some societies, dreams are believed to carry messages from ancestors, spirits, or divine beings. In others, they are used as tools for reflection, moral guidance, or artistic inspiration. Families blend these perspectives with contemporary knowledge, creating nightly practices that honor both heritage and modern insight. Stories, lullabies, and gentle rituals continue to shape the context in which dreams occur, influencing both emotional well-being and imaginative engagement. The intimate role of dreams extends beyond individual experience. Dreams can influence community beliefs, artistic expression, and even scientific inquiry. Historical accounts show leaders, inventors, and artists drawing inspiration from visions encountered during sleep. Today, dreams continue to inspire creativity, problem-solving, and introspection. Despite modern technologies and scientific explanations, the power of dreams to guide, provoke reflection, and nurture imagination remains undiminished. As night spreads its quiet across homes, Picture individuals settling into beds, minds attuned to both reality and imagination. The soft rustle of sheets, the dim glow of lamps, and the gentle rhythm of breathing create the stage for nightly journeys. Dreams, intimate and mysterious, bridge centuries of human experience, connecting ancient ritual, modern science, and personal reflection. In Part 18, dear listener, we will explore the fascinating influence of sleep on creativity and innovation, uncovering how dreams continue to shape human thought, artistry, and invention. We step now, dear listener, into the gentle connection between sleep, dreams, and human creativity, where nightly rest becomes a fertile ground for inspiration, problem-solving, and imagination. Across centuries, thinkers, artists, and inventors have credited their visions and insights to dreams experienced during sleep. Even in the modern era, science shows that sleep supports memory, cognitive growth, and the processing of ideas, making it not only a restorative necessity, but also a quiet spark for creativity. Throughout history, dreams have encouraged moments of insight that shaped human society. Ancient stories, medieval reflections, and early accounts all share instances where thoughts appeared in visions or symbolic nightly scenes. Artists sketched images inspired by dreams. Composers heard melodies during the night, and inventors found solutions after waking. These examples remind us that sleep is not passive. It is a flowing space where imagination and thought come together, weaving intuition, hidden reflections, and conscious understanding. Modern research offers gentle support for these experiences. Neuroscientists note that REM sleep and deep rest stages help the brain strengthen connections, organize memories, and encourage creative thinking. Dreams, once seen only through mystical interpretations, now have a natural explanation that adds to their cultural meaning. Yet the wonder remains. Many people awaken with ideas or inspiration that feel both surprising and deeply personal. Cultural traditions also nurture this link between sleep and imagination. Storytelling, gentle rituals, and dream reflection provide comfort and creative spark, especially for children. Families share tales that inspire wonder, and bedtime practices are shaped to encourage calm and reflection. Even today, practices like quiet meditation, visualization, or thoughtful preparation of the sleeping space can enrich creativity, showing how timeless wisdom and modern knowledge blend in harmony. The influence of sleep on creativity stretches beyond personal moments. Collaborative ideas, discoveries, and works of art often trace back to inspirations found during rest. Writers, painters, and inventors have long described the night as a time when fresh ideas come alive. In the rhythm of sleep and dreams, the lines between conscious thought and quiet intuition grow softer, allowing creativity to flow naturally. As night falls and homes grow still, imagine individuals in gentle rooms, filled with soft light and calm silence. Dreams stir hidden thoughts, awaken creativity, and offer subtle guidance for the journey of waking life. The quiet meeting of sleep and imagination, cherished through centuries and understood with modern science, ensures that rest continues to be a source of inspiration for humanity. In Part 19, dear listener, we will explore the cultural and personal value of bedtime rituals around the world, discovering how practices from many societies join with science and imagination to create meaningful and restorative nightly routines. The rich and varied world of bedtime rituals, where personal habits and cultural traditions converge to shape the experience of sleep. Across the globe, societies have developed unique practices designed to ensure rest, comfort, and safety, blending practical measures, imaginative storytelling, and spiritual guidance. These rituals are more than routines. They are expressions of care, heritage, and creativity, passed from generation to generation, adapting to modern knowledge while preserving their symbolic and emotional essence. In many cultures, bedtime is accompanied by structured routines that promote calm and transition from the activities of the day to the stillness of night. Families may dim lights, arrange bedding carefully, and provide warmth, while engaging children in storytelling or lullabies. These rituals serve multiple purposes. They signal the approach of rest, foster a sense of security, and encourage imagination. Stories often carry moral lessons, cultural knowledge, or reflections of dreams, linking the practical need for rest with intellectual and emotional growth. Globally, rituals vary widely yet share common elements. In some societies, herbs and natural scents are used to calm the mind and body. In others, music or chanting creates a soothing auditory environment. Protective symbols, prayers, or small charms may accompany the preparation for sleep, offering reassurance against perceived dangers or disturbances during the night. Even in technologically advanced homes, elements of these traditions persist, integrated with contemporary advice about light, temperature, and mental relaxation. Sleep is both guided by science and enriched by centuries of ritual and imagination. The personal significance of these rituals cannot be overstated. For children, bedtime routines provide predictability, comfort, and emotional security. Observing dreams, discussing fears, or sharing imaginative stories strengthens family bonds and fosters self-reflection. For adults, rituals may include meditation, reading, or reflection on the day's events, creating a space where the mind can release stress and enter restorative rest. Across all ages, bedtime rituals offer a unique opportunity to balance mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Scientific research supports many of these traditional practices. Consistent routines, calm environments, and structured pre-sleep activities improve sleep quality, enhance cognitive function, and reduce stress. At the same time, cultural elements, stories, rituals, symbols, add layers of meaning and emotional comfort, demonstrating the interplay between biology, psychology, and imagination. Sleep is therefore not merely a physiological act, but a culturally rich and personally meaningful experience, shaped by both inherited knowledge and contemporary understanding. As night falls across diverse communities, imagine households preparing for rest with care and intention. Children listen to stories, parents reflect, and homes are arranged to maximize comfort and calm. These bedtime rituals, blending cultural heritage, scientific insight, and imaginative engagement, create a sanctuary of rest where dreams, reflection, and rejuvenation intersect. In Part 20, dear listener, we will explore the fascinating relationship between sleep and health, examining how rituals, practices, and cultural knowledge contribute to physical and mental well-being, and how understanding sleep can influence longevity and vitality. The profound connection between sleep and health, a relationship recognized across centuries and cultures. Sleep is not merely a state of rest, it is a vital process that impacts the mind, body, and spirit. Across the world, traditions, rituals, and practices have long emphasized the importance of restorative sleep for overall well-being. Modern science confirms these ancient intuitions, demonstrating that consistent sleep, proper environment, and guided routines play a critical role in maintaining physical health, emotional balance, and mental clarity. Throughout history, humans have understood that sleep affects vitality and longevity. In ancient societies, herbs, teas, and natural remedies were employed to promote restful slumber. Lullabies, storytelling, and rituals provided emotional calm and security, ensuring that both children and adults could transition smoothly into rest. These practices acknowledged the interconnection of body and mind. A peaceful environment, a sense of safety, and a nurtured imagination all contributed to healthy sleep, which in turn supported overall health and well-being. Modern research reinforces this understanding. Sleep supports immune function, regulates hormones, improves cognitive function, and aids emotional processing. Disrupted or insufficient sleep can lead to fatigue, stress, and illness, highlighting the necessity of careful attention to nightly rest. Yet the wisdom of past generations remains relevant. Rituals, environment, and psychological comfort profoundly affect the quality of sleep. Families continue to use routines, stories, and calming techniques, combining scientific insights with cultural practices to foster holistic well-being. Cultural knowledge also plays a key role in sleep and health. In many societies, practices such as meditation, prayer, and reflective storytelling are used to reduce stress before bedtime, promoting both physical and mental balance. In rural and urban settings alike, families prepare the sleeping space carefully, considering temperature, lighting, and sensory comfort. Herbs, protective symbols, or scented oils provide emotional reassurance and mental calm, demonstrating the enduring influence of tradition alongside modern science. The personal impact of these practices is profound. Consistent bedtime routines help regulate circadian rhythms, support healthy development in children, and enhance emotional stability in adults. Observing dreams, reflecting on nightly experiences, and creating environments that nurture rest contribute not only to nightly comfort, but to long-term vitality. Sleep is therefore both preventive and restorative, a practice that nurtures life in subtle yet essential ways. As night descends and homes settle into quiet stillness, imagine families preparing for sleep with intention and care. Children are soothed by stories and gentle guidance. Adults reflect or meditate, and the sleeping environment is arranged to maximize comfort, calm, and safety. Sleep, guided by rituals, cultural wisdom, and modern understanding, emerges as a cornerstone of health and longevity. The intersection of tradition and science ensures that nightly rest continues to support vitality, resilience, and well-being across generations. In Part 21, dear listener, we will explore the mystical and symbolic significance of sleep in human culture, examining how dreams, rituals, and nightly practices convey meaning beyond the physical, connecting individuals to imagination, spirituality, and cultural memory. The profound connection between sleep and health, a relationship recognized across centuries and cultures. Sleep is not merely a state of rest, it is a vital process that impacts the mind, body, and spirit. Across the world, traditions, rituals, and practices have long emphasized the importance of restorative sleep for overall well-being. Modern science confirms these ancient intuitions, demonstrating that consistent sleep, proper environment, and guided routines play a critical role in maintaining physical health, emotional balance, and mental clarity. Throughout history, humans have understood that sleep affects vitality and longevity. In ancient societies, herbs, teas, and natural remedies were employed to promote restful slumber. Lullabies, storytelling, and rituals provided emotional calm and security, ensuring that both children and adults could transition smoothly into rest. These practices acknowledged the interconnection of body and mind. A peaceful environment, a sense of safety, and a nurtured imagination all contributed to healthy sleep, which in turn supported overall health and well-being. Modern research reinforces this understanding. Sleep supports immune function, regulates hormones, improves cognitive function, and aids emotional processing. Disrupted or insufficient sleep can lead to fatigue, stress, and illness, highlighting the necessity of careful attention to nightly rest. Yet the wisdom of past generations remains relevant. Rituals, environment, and psychological comfort profoundly affect the quality of sleep. Families continue to use routines, stories, and calming techniques, combining scientific insights with cultural practices to foster holistic well-being. Cultural knowledge also plays a key role in sleep and health. In many societies, practices such as meditation, prayer, and reflective storytelling are used to reduce stress before bedtime, promoting both physical and mental balance. In rural and urban settings alike, families prepare the sleeping space carefully, considering temperature, lighting, and sensory comfort. Herbs, protective symbols, or scented oils provide emotional reassurance and mental calm, demonstrating the enduring influence of tradition alongside modern science. The personal impact of these practices is profound. Consistent bedtime routines help regulate circadian rhythms, support healthy development in children, and enhance emotional stability in adults. Observing dreams, reflecting on nightly experiences, and creating environments that nurture rest contribute not only to nightly comfort, but to long-term vitality. Sleep is therefore both preventive and restorative, a practice that nurtures life in subtle yet essential ways. As night descends and homes settle into quiet stillness, imagine families preparing for sleep with intention and care. Children are soothed by stories and gentle guidance. Adults reflect or meditate, and the sleeping environment is arranged to maximize comfort, calm, and safety. Sleep, guided by rituals, cultural wisdom, and modern understanding, emerges as a cornerstone of health and longevity. The intersection of tradition and science ensures that nightly rest continues to support vitality, resilience, and well-being across generations. In Part 21, dear listener, we will explore the mystical and symbolic significance of sleep in human culture, examining how dreams, rituals, and nightly practices convey meaning beyond the physical, connecting individuals to imagination, spirituality, and cultural memory. We step now, dear listener, into the contemporary interplay between sleep, technology, and modern culture, where nightly rest is both transformed and informed by innovation. In the 21st century, the rhythms of life are intertwined with screens, digital media, and constant connectivity. Yet humans continue to seek restorative sleep, blending technology with inherited practices and imagination. Sleep has become a space where science, culture, and creativity meet, offering both challenges and opportunities for optimal rest. Technological advances have reshaped daily life and the preparation for sleep. Smartphones, tablets, and televisions extend the waking day, often interfering with natural circadian rhythms. At the same time, technology provides tools for monitoring and improving sleep. Smart devices track duration, cycles, and quality, offering insights that allow individuals to adjust routines for better rest. Sleep apps, guided meditations, and white noise systems combine science and practice, demonstrating that modern tools can coexist with traditional approaches to nightly care. Even amid these digital innovations, ancient and cultural practices remain vital. Families continue to employ bedtime rituals that calm the mind and nurture imagination. Storytelling, lullabies, and gentle guidance provide emotional grounding, while meditation, aromatherapy, and protective symbols enrich the sleep environment. Across households, technology is integrated thoughtfully with ritual and cultural wisdom, creating hybrid nightly routines that respect both modern knowledge and inherited practices. Modern culture also shapes perceptions of sleep and its value. Awareness of mental health, productivity, and wellness emphasizes the importance of rest as a foundational aspect of life. Societies encourage structured routines, mindfulness, and self-care, highlighting how contemporary priorities influence bedtime practices. At the same time, dreams and symbolic interpretations continue to captivate, providing personal insight, imaginative stimulation, and cultural continuity. Sleep remains a multidimensional experience, balancing science, creativity, and tradition. Globally, the fusion of culture and technology creates diverse approaches to nightly rest. Individuals adopt elements from multiple traditions, blending meditation techniques from Asia, storytelling from Europe, and modern scientific guidance from the Americas. Sleep becomes both a personal practice and a reflection of cultural awareness, where imagination and technology converge to create environments that promote health, emotional well-being, and creativity. As night falls across urban and rural landscapes, picture households carefully preparing for rest, dimming lights, arranging bedding, limiting digital distractions, and engaging in calming rituals. The evolving relationship between sleep, technology, and modern culture illustrates that while life may accelerate and digital tools may dominate, the essence of rest, its restorative, imaginative, and symbolic dimensions, remains central to human experience. In Part 23, dear listener, we will examine the enduring legacy of historical sleep practices, highlighting how the wisdom of the past continues to shape modern routines, rituals, and cultural understanding of nightly rest. The enduring legacy of historical sleep practices, a journey that reveals how centuries of human experience continue to influence modern nightly routines. Across cultures and eras, people have developed habits, rituals, and beliefs designed to ensure rest, comfort, and emotional well-being. These practices, though shaped by context and time, remain relevant today, offering guidance, inspiration, and continuity in a rapidly changing world. In ancient civilizations, sleep was closely tied to the rhythms of nature. People rose and rested according to the sun, using natural light and darkness as guides. Herbs, incense, and simple rituals prepared the mind and body for rest, while storytelling and communal reflection nurtured emotional security. These practices were practical, addressing the needs of health, safety, and social cohesion. Yet they were also imbued with symbolism, connecting daily life to spiritual, imaginative, and cultural frameworks. Medieval and early modern societies expanded on these foundations. Lullabies, bedtime prayers, and protective charms provided reassurance against danger and encouraged peaceful rest. Families emphasized structured routines, creating predictable transitions from the busyness of day to the stillness of night. Dreams were interpreted, discussed, and recorded, reflecting the deep belief that sleep was both restorative and revelatory. Even in technologically limited contexts, these practices balanced biological necessity with emotional, psychological, and symbolic significance. The legacy of these historical practices is evident in modern routines. Families continue to use bedtime rituals to foster security and emotional well-being. Storytelling, gentle guidance, and reflection on dreams remain common, while scientific understanding of circadian rhythms and sleep hygiene complements traditional wisdom. In essence, modern sleep practices are an evolution, blending empirical knowledge with inherited cultural and imaginative insights. This fusion ensures that nightly rest is not only restorative, but also meaningful and emotionally fulfilling. Global cultures demonstrate diverse expressions of this legacy. Practices once local have become accessible worldwide, influencing modern meditation, relaxation, and bedtime storytelling. Herbs, scents, music, and ambient sounds are integrated with technological tools like sleep apps and smart devices, creating personalized routines that honor both tradition and innovation. The past informs the present, offering a rich tapestry of strategies for rest, emotional health, and imaginative engagement. As night spreads across cities and villages, imagine individuals preparing for sleep with care, combining inherited wisdom with contemporary tools. Children are soothed by stories and rituals. Adults reflect or meditate, and communities maintain traditions that provide both comfort and continuity. The enduring legacy of historical sleep practices underscores the timeless nature of rest, showing that human ingenuity, imagination, and cultural awareness have always shaped the way we approach nightly restoration. In Part 24, dear listener, we will explore the social and communal dimensions of sleep, examining how families, neighborhoods, and societies collectively shape nightly practices, rituals, and the shared experience of rest. The social and communal dimensions of sleep, a realm where nightly rest is not only personal, but deeply intertwined with family life, neighborhoods, and broader society. Across history and cultures, sleep has been shaped by communal rhythms, collective rituals, and shared beliefs. From ancient households to modern cities, the way humans rest has always been influenced by social structures, interactions, and cultural expectations, highlighting that sleep is both an individual necessity and a communal practice. In traditional societies, families often slept in shared spaces, creating a sense of safety, comfort, and continuity. Elders guided children through bedtime stories, rituals, and prayers, transmitting cultural knowledge and moral guidance while providing reassurance. Communities observed daily cycles together, aligning work, meals, and rest with collective rhythms. This communal approach reinforced emotional security, nurtured imagination, and allowed cultural traditions to persist across generations. Even as societies evolved, social influences on sleep remained significant. In medieval towns, neighborhoods were structured around shared quiet hours and social expectations of rest. In rural areas, the timing of sleep often followed agricultural demands, communal gatherings, and seasonal variations. Practices such as night prayers, storytelling circles, or collective lullabies emphasized the social nature of rest, showing that sleep is not merely a private activity, but a shared experience shaped by social bonds and cultural continuity. Modern life despite technological disruption, retains communal aspects of sleep. Families maintain bedtime routines that involve shared stories, reflection, and rituals. Children's sleep is guided by parents and caregivers, while adults coordinate schedules to support household harmony, even in cities where individual schedules vary. Cultural norms, public health guidance, and social awareness of sleep hygiene create a shared understanding of rest's importance. Global diversity further enriches communal sleep practices. Across cultures, rituals, storytelling, and protective practices are shared within households and neighborhoods. Music, ambient sounds, or scented herbs may be collectively used to foster calm environments. Communities recognize the role of sleep in mental, emotional, and physical health, creating norms and practices that support both individual and collective rest. The intersection of social structure, cultural knowledge, and personal routines ensures that sleep remains a holistic, community-informed process. As night blankets the world, imagine homes where families prepare for sleep together, where neighbors respect quiet hours, and where cultural and social practices weave a shared tapestry of rest. The communal dimensions of sleep demonstrate that human experience is inherently social, that rest is nurtured through relationships, and that rituals and shared understanding create security, calm, and continuity. In Part 25, dear listener, we will bring this journey to its conclusion, reflecting on the totality of human sleep practices, their historical roots, cultural diversity, and the enduring mysteries and rituals that make nightly rest a profound and essential part of life. At the final part of our journey through the intricate, fascinating, and timeless world of sleep, across centuries, cultures, and continents, humans have cultivated nightly rituals, beliefs, and practices that ensure rest, comfort, and well-being. From ancient civilizations to modern households, sleep has been shaped by biology, imagination, tradition, and culture. It is a space where body and mind rejuvenate, where dreams unfold, and where the continuity of human experience is maintained. Historical practices continue to inform modern routines. Herbs, storytelling, lullabies, and protective symbols remain meaningful, even in technologically advanced societies. Families use structured bedtime routines to foster emotional security, cognitive development, and cultural continuity. Communities establish shared norms, quiet hours, and collective practices that reflect both social cohesion and respect for individual needs. These threads, woven across time, illustrate the enduring wisdom of human attention to rest, demonstrating that sleep has always been more than a biological necessity. It is a cultural, imaginative, and profoundly human experience. Dreams occupy a central place in this tapestry. Across ages, people have interpreted dreams as reflections, omens, or sources of inspiration. They have shaped moral guidance, artistic creation, and problem-solving, demonstrating that sleep is also a conduit for imagination, creativity, and insight. Even with modern scientific understanding of REM cycles, memory consolidation, and cognitive processing, the symbolic, emotional, and spiritual significance of dreams persists. Humans continue to find meaning, guidance, and inspiration in nightly visions, bridging the tangible and the intangible, the conscious and the subconscious. The interplay of science, ritual, and imagination defines contemporary sleep. Circadian rhythms, environmental adjustments, and sleep monitoring coexist with cultural practices, meditation, and storytelling. Personal and familial routines honor emotional needs and heritage while benefiting from empirical knowledge. Sleep is both art and science, ritual and biology, personal and communal, reflecting the multifaceted dimensions of human life. Social and communal dimensions remain critical. Families, neighborhoods, and societies collectively shape practices, expectations, and rhythms that influence rest. Shared rituals, cultural narratives, and collaborative attention to bedtime foster security, emotional well-being, and intergenerational knowledge. The communal aspect of sleep underscores that rest is not only an individual necessity, but also a shared cultural and social experience, reinforcing bonds and continuity across time. As we conclude, imagine homes around the world settling into quiet night. Children are soothed by stories. Adults reflect and meditate. Neighborhoods respect calm, and the air is filled with a shared sense of safety, tradition, and imaginative possibility. Across ages, sleep has been shaped by necessity, creativity, cultural memory, and scientific understanding. Dear listener, as you prepare for your own nightly rest, remember that every bedtime ritual, every dream, and every moment of sleep connects you to centuries of human experience. Embrace the calm, honor your imagination, and let the gentle rhythms of night carry you into rejuvenation, creativity, and peace. With this reflection, our journey comes to a close, but the practice, wisdom, and wonder of sleep continue with you. Every night, every dream, and every peaceful breath. Dear listener, before we finally part ways tonight, let us take a moment to reflect on the gift of sleep. Sleep is more than rest. It is a natural healer, a guide, and a source of calm for both body and mind. When you allow yourself to drift into peaceful sleep, your muscles relax, your mind quiets, and your heart restores its rhythm. Stress melts away, and your brain sorts through thoughts and emotions, leaving you refreshed, focused, and ready for the new day. Good sleep nurtures creativity, strengthens memory, and improves emotional balance. It helps the body fight illness, repair tissues, and maintain overall vitality. When you prioritize rest, you honor yourself, your health, and your well-being. Even brief moments of calm, gentle breathing, and quiet reflection before sleep can prepare you for the restorative journey of the night. So, as you lie down tonight, close your eyes, take deep, slow breaths, and let the gentle rhythm of your body guide you into a peaceful, dream-filled sleep. Imagine a world of calm imagination and serenity embracing you, as every worry and thought gently fades away. Sleep deeply, sleep safely, and let your dreams inspire and restore you. May your night be calm, your rest rejuvenating, and your morning bright and full of energy. Good night, dear listener.